Guys, in this video I will show you how to add a Google Map to your website using the extra advanced Google Maps widget for Elementor. No coding needed. So let's get started. So here's a car booking website where I will add a Google Map over here. Adding a map to your homepage and contact page is helpful because it makes it easier for users to find your location. So let's get started. In the search panel, search for the advanced Elementor Google Maps widget by Xplo and drag and drop it onto your template. You will see an error message displaying the API key is not found. That's sad, but you can fix this by going to the Google Cloud and follow the instructions to create a new Google Map API key. Once you have your Google API key, go to the Xplo dashboard, click on User Data, scroll down to the Google Maps API and paste your API key into the field. Then save your changes. That's it. You have successfully added the Google Maps API key and now you are ready to customize your map. Now head back to the Elementor builder, publish your page and then refresh it. You should see your Google Maps displayed in its default view and you are ready to customize your map. In the Content tab, we have General and Marker section. Let's start with Marker section and first add a desired location. Here you will see a default marker for the London Eye already placed on the map. Want to add more locations? Just click on Add Items to place additional markers. If you want to remove any extra item, simply hit the delete icon. The moment you click on the field item, you can see its editing options. You will see two tabs, Content and Marker. Let's start with the Content tab. Here you will find fields for latitude and longitude. Latitude measures how far north or south a location is from the equator, and longitude measures how far east or west it is from prime meridian. These coordinates pinpoint the location on the map. To find these coordinates, you can use Google Maps. Search for your desired location, right-click on it, and copy the coordinates. The first one is latitude and the second one is the longitude. Or visit a site like lightlong.net, enter the location name Cape Town, USA, and it will provide the coordinates. Copy them from there. Paste the latitude and longitude into their respective fields to place your marker accurately on the map. And there you have it, your marker is now set on the map. Next up is the title section where you can enter the location's name. I'm going to enter Cape Town. In the content section, you can add extra details about the place such as its address or phone number. I'm going with this address detail. Click on the marker to see these details. Now it's time to explore marker. You can either go with this default marker or can have a custom marker. Select from this media library, or if you have one stored in your computer, then hit on this upload files, or you can pull one directly from the website by copying and pasting the URL. Let's upload this X icon as an example. It will appear like this. You can upload the location images if you want. I'm going with the default custom marker. It's so fun and easy, right? Let's add another spot, for example, Argentine. Setting its coordinates, and let's see how it looks on the map. You might not see the marker if the place is far, and for that you have to zoom it out from here. And here you can see it. You can add as many locations you want. I only need one, so deleting it. And with that, the marker section is all done. Let's jump on to the general section. Here you can enable or disable various features. First we have Street View. Simply double-click the right mouse button to drop the pigment onto any location on the map. This will open Street View where you can navigate using the arrows. Rotate the view with the compass icon. It's so awesome, right? And return to the map by clicking back arrow. If you don't like it, disable it. I am keeping this cool feature. Then the map type that you can see over here, you can choose between map and satellite view. The map view offers terrain options, which shows the physical features of the land, and the satellite view shows aerial imagery. You can also toggle labels off or on in the satellite view. To display the map type here, make sure the toggle switch is set to yes. If not, then switch it to no. I recommend you to keep it as this allows the viewers to see the map type of their choice. Next, the zoom control that displays this positive and negative signs on the map. You got the idea in the marker section. You can zoom in with this positive sign and zoom out with this negative sign. If you don't want it to be displayed on the map, then toggle the switch to no. But I'm going to keep it for the user's ease. The moment you switch the zoom control toggle to yes, you can see the zoom slide bar where you can adjust the zoom level by dragging this slide bar. And if you have a specific value, then enter it into the digit box and increase or decrease it from here. It's that simple to get the exact view you want. Zoom in depending on how much map you want to show in and how much information you want to show around the markers. The default 15 pixels seems alright. Lastly, check out the square icon in the top right corner. Click it to view the map in full screen. Zoom in and zoom out in the full screen mode. To exit full screen, just click the icon again. And with that, the content tab is all set. It's time to head over to the styling tab and give the map a stunning look. Here we have general and tooltip sections. Starting with the general. First up is the JSON code field where you can give your map a fresh look with styles from Snazzy Maps. This step is optional. If you like this default theme, then you can stay with the default Google Maps theme. Let's have some fun with the Snazzy Maps. Click on this Snazzy Map link to head over to their website. You will find a variety of styles, both free and premium. I am going with this modest style. Clicking on it, just expand the styles detail, copy the JSON code and paste it into the JSON code field. And just like that, your map will showcase its new stylish appearance. Next, let's dive into the normal and hover options. Normal is the map's default state. Here we have CSS filters. These filters allow you to fine-tune the map's visual. Adjust how blurry or sharp the map appears using the blur option. In the brightness, change the brightness level to make map lighter or darker. In contrast, modify how bright or dark different parts of the map look. Control the intensity of map's color in the saturation and alter the color tone of the map using the hue option. I am keeping it at default for the normal option. Now let's move on to the hover option. This is where you can style how the map looks when the users hover their mouse over the map. Let's adjust the CSS filter here and see the results. Wow, that looks fantastic. Finally, let's look at the height setting in the general section, where you can increase or decrease the map's height by dragging the slide bar or entering the value. Let's try 300, 350, no, 400, perfect. Play around with these options to get the perfect map height for your site. The general section is all done and we are only left with a tooltip. Let's get it done as well. Typography is the first option here. Let's dive in. You can select the font for the tooltip from this font family. There are multiple options. I'm going with Poppins. It's clean and easy to read. Adjust the size of the text by dragging the slide bar or entering a value directly. How about 16 pixels? Oh, nice. Now let's adjust the weight. Select the thickness of the text from these options. I like 400 pixels. It's just right, not too bold or not too light. Next we have transform, where we have uppercase, lowercase, capitalize. I am going with capitalize. Next for style, there is normal, italic, oblique. Italic and oblique are somewhat similar. Oblique is smoother. Selecting normal. For decoration, you can see underline, overline, and line through. And if you don't want any, then just go for none. Then comes line height, where you can increase and decrease the line height like this. Similarly, adjust the spacing between the letters in the letter spacing and words in word spacing to fit your design. With typography set, let's move on to the text color. Choose a color that complements your map style from the color option available. I am all in for black. Next up is the box shadow, a great way to add a stylish touch to your elements. Pick a color that will stand out nicely from the shadow color. Adjust the shadow's horizontal and vertical directions to get the look you want. Control the softness of the shadow by adjusting the blur value. Use the spread slide bar to define how far the shadow extends. For position, you can select inset, in which the shadow is inside the edges, and for outer edges, go for outline. I am keeping it at default. Up next is the border radius. This option lets you soften the tooltip's edges. For a subtle curve, use 5 or 10 pixels. For fully routed edges, go with 50 or more. You can even unlink the values to adjust each corner separately. How cool is that? I want subtle edges, so 5. Lastly, adjust the padding to control the space inside the tooltip. Increase or decrease it to fit your design. And that's it. Let's preview the changes and see how it looks. Whoa, we've done a pretty good job there, right?